Okay, so after the crash, it did save here. So let's try this again. I still really want this Pokemon. I let my computer. For those of you who don't know, my parents are both in the medical field. My father's a doctor, my mother is a nurse. It isn't like some epic love story that happened with them. They met at my mom's first job, which was at St. Michael's Hospital. I really have to go back and buy stuff. But like, my parents are both amazing people. Like, I dedicate this whole episode to them. I guess is the best way to describe it. I love my parents. This is the thing I wanted. Alright, let's try and catch this thing. Well, that didn't work well. Yeah, my parents are absolutely amazing. Great. Let's switch. Let's switch into bird. They do so much for me. They do so much for me and my brother. Me and my brother both turned out to be amazing children. Just saying. My brother actually, he is a marketing major from Notre Dame. He graduated from there last year. So, I mean, they really raised two amazing children. I love them both. My dad's now in his 60s, and it's very hard for me to ever see my father in pain. I think it's hard for anybody, but I'm such a daddy's girl, it really hurts me. He got his knees redone because when he was in college, he ended up tearing his ACL and meniscus on both knees. Not just one, on both. So, I want to name you Yoga. But my father is one of the strongest people I know. I named you Y, okay? That works too. My father, he is a doctor, and oh, this is a Pokemon I wanted. Flip. Let's use you. Going back to my dad. Oh, no. That's no good. No! I want one. So my father, talk about determination. This guy, he comes from a Irish immigrant family. He's one of 5. His dad dies while he's in college. He is denied from med school. He was denied multiple times. I think my dad told me, like, he gives me these pep talks by telling me how many times he failed. So it does make me feel a lot better. I believe he's told me before he was denied from college like 5 times before he finally got into med school. And just thinking about this man who has done so much in his life. Like, my father is probably one of the most well-read person. Like, you wonder where I get all my facts from, why I know so much. It's because of that man. He knows, like, incredible facts about, like, everything and anything. Like, we can just go into calls and just talk about, like, what's going on in the real world, but he knows it inside out, upside down, and backwards. Like, more than I do. So, he's absolutely incredible. Wait, where are you? Oh, you're a normal type. Why? Nature. Okay. Well, that works. But, like, he just does these most amazing things. Like, he's the reason why I do volunteer work. He's the reason why I want to give back so much. Like, why I do what I do. It's all because of him. If you want to thank somebody, thank my father. He taught me to be caring, compassionate, kind, to show people that they matter, because if you don't, then who's going to? He's also taught me never to see somebody by the color of their skin, just to see them for their merits, and I have to thank them for that. Like, honestly, my parents make me who I am. Kind, caring, compassionate person. Um, my mother isn't anything less. My dad he's failed a lot more than my mom. My mom, she is a nurse. She has her bachelor's in nursing. She worked very hard. She came up, she's one of three. She's the youngest. Italian immigrant family. Not until recently did she start talking more with me about her childhood. Aww, that's cute. I like how Cutie Pie is trying to be intimidating. She grew up in North. What the hell is that? That is gorgeous. I want you. Okay. She grew up in New Jersey. My grandparents, I love my grandma and grandpa, rest in peace. They passed away a few years back. They really didn't understand why my mom wanted to go to nursing school. So it was like very strange to them. So like, my mom really had to struggle through that because they weren't super supportive, but at the same time they were. Like, my grandpa used to drive my mom. He would do anything for her. My grandfather, my grandmother too, they're both amazing people. They formed me too in so many different ways. Oh, that's really, really cool. And it's female. You know what? No. This is gonna be named after my grandma. The reason why is because I have a very fond memory of me on a horse and my grandma freaking out. So that's why it's getting named after her. So they were both very amazing people. My grandparents were my rock for a very long time. And I miss my grandma. I miss my grandma a lot because I was very, very close with her. Same with my grandpa. My grandma had a heart attack. My grandfather was sick for a very long time because of smoking. So that's why I'm very against smoking. But they're both together. I believe that there is something after death. I don't know what, but I know they're together, and I know they're fighting or pulling pranks or doing something. Like, my grandparents were, my grandfather especially was notorious for that. Like, just pulling pranks. I can remember one time we went to, oh, what the heck is the name of the town? It's in Florida. It was some Disney resort, and he pulled a prank on my grandma because we went to a restaurant, and she took the bread from the restaurant and put it in her purse and then started walking out. So my grandpa goes, hey, watch this. And then he yells, hey lady, what are you doing stealing that bread? My grandma freaked. She thought she was actually caught. So it was like really, really funny to me that they were like that. Like, just little things like that. But I really know that they loved each other. They truly did. They knew each other from childhood. The kids grew up down the street. Atypical love story, you know? And they really did love each other. Towards the end, my grandma kept saying that she wanted to be with my grandpa. And looking back on it, I feel really selfish. Because even though I knew she was in pain, I didn't want to lose her. So, it really hurts now looking back because I'm like, oh my god, I feel like I did a horrible thing by wanting her to stay. Sorry. But I know she didn't see it that way. I'm gonna cry. Actually, I'm looking across my living room because I have their wedding photo hanging up. Like, that's one thing. That was the first thing I moved into my house, actually, was their wedding photo. Because that's how much they meant to me. And, like, it hurts still talking about, like, losing them, but at the same time, they made me who I am in another way. It's like, if I look back at all the people who made me, it's my aunts, my uncles, my grandparents, stories of my grandparents. I didn't actually meet my father's father. He died when my dad was in college. But I've heard stories of him. Like, he was an amazing individual. He was a pilot during World War II. He was a navigator in the Army Air Corps. He served during World War II in the Japanese theater. From him, I have the map of Nagasaki's bomb run, which is amazing. It's like an amazing artifact that a man who never met me, who inspired me to love history because of all the cool stories I heard about him. I have pictures of my grandfather, my dad's dad, up in my room. I never met the man, but he still inspired me because he was willing to fight for a country that, at the time, you have to realize Irish people weren't very accepted back in the 1940s. They were still seen as, like, evil things. So, he was willing to fight for a country that really didn't want him. And I find that truly incredible. And it wasn't just him. He had two older brothers, too. One ended up being an FBI agent, and the other ones were in the Marine and Army Air Corps with him. So all of them fought for a country that hated them. That's pretty cool aftermath. That was like, yeah, we don't really want you because you're a Roman Catholic, so therefore you're different than us. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. I never met the man. Not once. All I heard was stories. All I've ever heard was stories. Well, at least we know you survived. So it's just like, what are you supposed to say? What are you supposed to say? Like, if I could have one conversation with all of them, I would. All four of my grandparents. Because I want to know if they're proud of me. I think they are. I know my grandma would be. She used to always say before that she wanted to see me get married, or at least one of her grandkids. She did. My cousin got married and had two grandkids, or great-grandkids for her, which meant the world to her. I know it did. So it's just like, you love your family because you don't know when they're gonna go. It's hard to say that, but you really don't know. And it's crazy to me. It's like, I love my mother and my father. I know they're getting older, and it worries me because my dad was able to provide for my grandparents because he was a doctor and he earned a lot of money. I know my parents, what the heck is that? That's getting named Sheldon. I know that my dad has enough money to where he doesn't have to really worry about it for retirement. But like, if something happened, I want to be able to help out my mom. Because unfortunately I know my dad's 10 years older than my mom. So I know if anything happens to him, she's probably going to live longer. And it hurts. It's a reality. So yeah, I'm making an episode and I'm crying in it. Great. But I love my family. I mean, I really do. Your name is going to be Shell. Yes. But I just, it's really hard sometimes. After I moved, like, I realized how much I miss them, and they'd gone on, this is how great my mother's planning is. They go on this great European trip, and it's for their anniversary. So my mom calls me up, and she goes, well, I have a slight issue. And I'm thinking, oh my God, something went wrong with the planning of this trip. I know they've both been looking forward to it. I'm like, well, what happened? She goes, well, we may be in Dachau on our wedding anniversary. I'm like, really? Like, that's just poetic justice right there. Your daughter's a historian who studied Nazi Germany, and you're going to be in Dachau on your wedding anniversary. Like, how much more ironic does it get? Like, where's the cameras? Where's somebody jumping out at me going, haha, we tricked you. So yeah, that happened. But it's just like interesting to me because my mom hated history before I came along. She used to tell me all the time, oh, I never studied history. And then I got her excited about it. So that means I'm doing something right. And it's not just because I'm her child, it's because I have such a passion for it that she saw that passion and was like, yeah, I want to learn more. So now sometimes she drives me nuts because she'll be like, hey, have you read this book? And it's like this historical fiction, and I'm like, no, but it's a historical fiction. Why would I read it? She's like, it's really, really good. And I'm like, again, it's a historical fiction. Why would I want to read it? She's just like, trust me, read it. And I'm like, I don't want to. So it's just like really funny to me because like she never loved history, and then I came along and I love history. So then she was forced to love history, and because of that, she now reads a lot of books about history and wants to go to historical places. For my 26th birthday, we're actually going to go out to San Diego. We're going to go to the Midway Museum, the San Diego Zoo. This is something that's been in the works for a while. I just had to decide where I wanted to go. And it has to be in the U.S., of course, because of money. But I'm so excited. Like, I'm so excited to be able to go on this trip with her because, like, it's fun. Last time we did it was for my 21st birthday, which was 5 years ago. We went to Savannah because I love history, and Savannah is one of my favorite cities because it's where, oh yeah, I forgot that I had that ability. It's where the major Civil War battle happened. Savannah wasn't burned because they made the deal with Sherman. And because of that, I wanted to go see Savannah. I don't want to learn hypnosis. No. Yes. So it's just like, yeah, I want to go to San Francisco. I want to see the Midway Museum. I want to see San Diego. I want to go see the San Diego Zoo. And I love zoos. Actually, this weekend, because they're coming up, we're going to go to the zoo. So we're going to have a lot of fun. And I love them. I mean, you're supposed to love your parents unconditionally most of the time. I do love mine. Even with their craziness, even with everything that happens in our lives, they are still one of the best things. And I'm going to save it here because this seems like a very safe save point. So guys, we're gonna save, and next time we're gonna continue on. I think the first recording has 4 minutes on it, so I don't want to go any further. So bye guys.